They left me in a gas station parking lot, 200 miles from home. No truck, no coat, just my wallet and a cold Montana wind slicing through my flannel like a knife. Linda called it a prank. Her sisters, Susan and Emily, laughed so hard they couldn't breathe. But I wasn't laughing. We'd been married 8 years. I paid the bills, fixed their damn plumbing, drove every mile of every family trip while they sat in the back texting gossip. And now this? She rolled down the window and said, "Figure it out yourself." So I did. I figured out who I really married, and I figured out exactly how to burn it all down, quietly. This isn't some sob story, this is a reckoning. Because when a man gives everything and still gets left behind, there's only one thing left to do: make sure they regret ever calling it a joke. I stood there, in the middle of a gas station parking lot off Highway 2, the kind with one flickering light and a broken soda machine humming in the corner. October wind tore through my sleeves and I could smell snow coming. That's when it hit me. Linda really drove off, 200 miles from Denver. No jacket, no truck, just me, my wallet, and the hollow sound of laughter still echoing from the back seat as they sped away. Her sisters, Susan and Emily, thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I didn't. We were supposed to be heading home after her cousin's wedding in Billings. We'd split gas, shared hotel rooms, 8 years married, and I thought we were solid. But that moment cracked something wide open. I reached for my keys, except they weren't my truck keys, just my house keys. My truck was back in Denver. Linda insisted I didn't need it for the trip. That's when I knew. This wasn't a heat of the moment thing. This was planned. I tried calling her, straight to voicemail. Tried Susan, nothing. Emily? She blocked me months ago. That was my first taste of what they really thought of me. And as I stood under that buzzing light, hands shoved deep in my jeans, I realized something else. If I didn't move now, I'd break. Right there in that parking lot. So I walked back inside, looked the old clerk in the eye and asked, "How far's the nearest bus to Denver?" He didn't blink. 40 miles east, Billings Station. Better hurry, son. It's getting cold fast. I nodded, because deep down, I already knew. This wasn't the end of a road trip. It was the beginning of a reckoning. The bus ride from Billings to Denver took 14 hours. 14 hours to sit still, watch the dark crawl across the plains, and try to make sense of the woman I'd built my life around. At first, I told myself it had to be some twisted joke, a teachable moment. Maybe they'd call soon, maybe she'd panic and come back. But hour after hour, no text, no call, just the hum of the highway and 100 voices in my head whispering, "She meant it, Richard, she meant every bit of it." And the more I sat there, the more I replayed the last few days, the strange way Linda kept glancing at her sisters in the rearview mirror. The way they giggled behind their hands when I asked what was funny. The jokes about me being too careful and too predictable and too boring. They'd laughed when I offered to help fix the sink in Susan's apartment. They rolled their eyes when I brought tools to Emily's move. "Not everything needs a man to solve it," they'd said. At the time, I let it slide. I was raised to pick my battles, but now I saw the pattern. Every trip, every dinner, every sister emergency that pulled Linda away from our plans, it wasn't coincidence. It was conditioning, chipping away at my presence, at my place in her life. Last year, she missed our anniversary to help Emily repaint her living room. Year before that, skipped my birthday dinner because Susan had a breakup. "Family comes first," she said. But I was supposed to be family too, wasn't I? As the bus creaked south through Wyoming, I looked out into the frozen dark and thought, if this was her idea of a joke, what else had I missed? And just like that, the doubt turned into something else entirely. Resolve. I got home just after 8 the next morning. No sign of Linda's car in the driveway. No note, no missed calls. Just a silent house with the blinds still half drawn, like nothing ever happened. I sat at the kitchen table for a long time. Didn't go to work, didn't eat. Just sat there with that sick feeling crawling up my spine. And then I did something I never thought I would. I opened her laptop. It wasn't about spying. I wasn't jealous. I just needed to understand. Who was this woman I'd been married to for 8 years? The screen came on. No password, just her carelessness. And right there, tucked behind tabs for hotel bookings and weather apps, was a group chat thread labeled Sisters. My stomach dropped. Messages going back months, screenshots of our texts, mine with laughing emojis tacked on, photos of me sleeping with captions like, "Dead to the world as usual, zero awareness like ever." But the worst part was the planning. Susan, we should ditch him somewhere and see how long it takes to crawl home. Emily, OMG, yes, he's so needy it's painful. Linda, you two are evil, but okay, it would be hilarious. They planned it down to the minute. The gas stop, the excuse about independence, even a backup story in case I beat them home. Susan wrote, "If he calls his mom again, I swear I'll block her too." I closed the laptop, just sat there in silence. Because at that moment, something inside me broke. Not out of anger, not even sadness, just clarity. I wasn't married to a wife. I was married to a performance. And I knew right then and there, I wouldn't be staying long enough for an encore. I didn't yell. I didn't flip the table or smash her coffee mugs. I just stood up, walked upstairs and packed a bag. One duffel, one decision, no note, no explanation, no goodbye. I left the front door unlocked, the lights on, the heat running, just like she left me. Difference was, I wasn't coming back. I drove 2 hours south to my brother Grant's place in Colorado Springs. Grumpy old night shift welder with a busted knee and a garage full of Milwaukee tools. He opened the door, saw my face, and just said, "You stayin'?" I nodded. He handed me a cold beer and pointed to the spare room. Next morning, I called my supervisor at North Peak and asked for a transfer. We had a hospital renovation project short on crew. "You start Wednesday," he said. No questions asked. By Tuesday, Linda was calling. Voicemail. "Richard, where are you? You're scaring me." No apology, no remorse, just confusion. Like I was the one who broke something. She kept calling. Then Susan, then Emily, using burner numbers, work phones, blocked caller IDs. All with the same line. "It was just a joke. Come home." But see, jokes have punchlines, and theirs had teeth. By Thursday, Grant came home from his shift and said, "She's out front." I looked out the window. There she was, Linda, in her car, just sitting there like a stray dog that didn't expect the gate to be locked. I met her in the lobby before she could knock. "Richard," she said, trying to reach for me. "We need to talk." But something in her voice was off. Not sadness, not love, irritation, like I was the problem. "It was just a prank," she said. "You're overreacting." I took one step back and replied, "No, Linda, I'm waking up." 3 weeks later, I had a new routine. Early mornings at the hospital job site. Evenings helping Grant rebuild the transmission in his 92 F-150. Weekends walking hardware aisles just because I could, without checking in with anyone. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I rented a modest apartment on the south end of Colorado Springs. 1 bedroom, old linoleum floors, paint a little chipped in the corners, but it was mine. No arguments over throw pillows, no debates about what show to watch, no, "Can you come fix my sister's sink?" phone calls, just peace. Then my mother called. "Richard," she said, voice tight, "Linda came by the house." I closed my eyes. What did she say? She said you were having a breakdown, that you disappeared after a trip and won't return her calls. I let out a long breath. Mom always liked Linda, thought she was grounded, reliable. She didn't see the cracks, the quiet manipulation. "It's not a breakdown, Mom," I said. "It's a decision." A long pause on her end. "You sure this can't be worked out?" I could hear it in her voice, the confusion, the hurt, because to the outside world, Linda still looked like the perfect wife. That's when I realized, if I stayed silent, she controlled the narrative. If I walked away quietly, they'd call me the villain. But if I stood up, really stood up, then maybe I could take back my name. So I found a divorce lawyer, Patricia Coleman, straight shooter, no nonsense. When I told her the full story, she didn't blink. "Let's get to work," she said. "But from now on, don't engage, not one word." I nodded, because I wasn't just walking away from a broken marriage. I was walking toward the man I should have been all along. 2 months after I filed for divorce, Grant handed me the phone after his night shift. "It's Patricia. Says you need to hear this." I met her at her office that afternoon. She didn't waste time. "Your wife's attorney just filed a response," she said. "They're claiming abandonment." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "They're arguing that you left without warning, refused marriage counseling, and caused emotional distress." I felt something cold settle in my gut, even now. After everything, Linda was still trying to flip the story. Patricia leaned forward, calm as ever. "But here's the twist. We did some digging. She's been telling people you were unstable, that she feared for her safety." I almost laughed. "Safety? She left me at a gas station in Montana." "She did more than that," Patricia said. She slid a folder across the desk. Inside were social media screenshots. Photos of Linda, Susan, and Emily at a bar in Billings, just hours after they ditched me. They were laughing, toasting. One caption read, "Freedom Weekend with the girls." Patricia pointed. "This one's gold, your Denver Broncos cap. The one you left in her car, Emily's wearing it." I stared at the printouts, silent, not out of shock, but because it all made sense now. They never expected me to fight back. They expected silence, shame, surrender. But I had evidence, and for the first time in years, I had clarity. Patricia looked me square in the eye. "We file our full response tomorrow. After that, let them try and spin it." I nodded, because I'd finally learned. When people play dirty, you don't have to match them. You just have to expose them. Tuesday morning, Courtroom 3B, Denver County Courthouse. I wore the same gray suit I got married in 8 years ago. This time, it didn't feel like a symbol of union. It felt like armor. Linda sat at the other table next to a sharply dressed attorney with a Bluetooth earpiece and a folder thicker than a phone book. She looked thinner, tired, still tried to smile when our eyes met. I didn't smile back. Her lawyer went first. "Your Honor," he said, "this is a case of overreaction. A harmless prank misunderstood by a sensitive husband. Mr. Malone left his wife without warning, refused to communicate, and is now attempting to punish her financially." I sat still, hands folded, let them talk. Then Patricia stood. "Your Honor," she said, "we'd like to present Exhibit A through G." First, the group chat messages. lines of cruel humor, pre-planned humiliation, then the social media posts, the bar, the drinks, my Broncos hat on Emily's head. Posted the same night they left me in the cold. The courtroom was silent, even the judge's eyebrows raised slightly. Patricia didn't stop there. She showed call logs, texts from burner phones, and the attempted smear campaign Linda ran behind my back. "This wasn't a prank," she said. "This was psychological harassment, sustained, calculated, and public." Linda's lawyer objected, but the judge waved it off. He leaned forward. "Based on the evidence, the court finds no grounds for spousal support, no finding of abandonment. The divorce is granted and assets will be split equally." Linda's face went pale. She tried to approach me in the hallway, but Patricia blocked her path. "No contact," she said, calm and firm. And just like that, it was done. But even as I walked out of that courthouse, I knew this story wasn't over. Because freedom isn't a moment, it's what you do with it next. I thought it was over. But folks like Linda, they don't walk away quietly. 2 weeks after the hearing, she showed up at my job site, unannounced. I was supervising concrete pours at the south entrance of the hospital. Hard hat on, clipboard in hand, covered in dust and focus. I looked up, and there she was, sunglasses, tight-lipped, arms crossed like she was still holding court. She didn't care about the restraining order. She wanted the last word. "I need to talk to you," she said, loud enough for the crew to hear. I stepped back. "Leave now, Linda. You can't just erase 8 years, Richard. We built a life." I stayed silent, not because I didn't have words, but because she already knew the truth. She just didn't like it. Security escorted her off-site within minutes. That evening, Patricia called. "She showed up where?" "Worksite," I said. "Didn't touch me, just talked." "Loud." Patricia sighed. "That counts as a violation. We'll file a report first thing tomorrow." But Linda didn't stop. Next week, she posted online photos from our wedding, captions about the man who vanished. Then came the emails to mutual friends, to my mother. "He's not well," she wrote. "He needs help, but he won't accept it." She wasn't trying to win me back. She was trying to erase what happened, to rewrite the story so that she'd be the victim and I'd be the ghost. But here's the thing. Truth doesn't need defending. It just needs documenting. I kept every screenshot, every voicemail, every unwanted visit logged by security. Patricia built the case. We didn't shout. We didn't shame. We followed the law. And one quiet morning in May, the judge granted a permanent no-contact order. Linda never came near me again, but her sisters, they were just getting started. I thought I'd seen the last of the chaos. Turns out, I'd just stepped into the eye of the storm. 2 months after the court finalized everything, I got a call from Marcus, old buddy from North Peak. He sounded off. "Richard, you might want to know. Emily's been asking around, said she wants to talk, said something about your company." That set something cold in my chest. Emily never called for talks. She stirred trouble. Turns out she'd applied for a job at a property we were bidding on, a government contract for city housing renovation, and word was, she'd been spreading stories, calling me unstable, a liability, fresh off a breakdown. I could have stayed quiet, but I knew better now. When people try to poison your name, silence doesn't protect you. Action does. So I made a call to the contracting board, sent them every legal record, showed documentation of the restraining orders, the harassment, the social media smear campaign. I didn't curse her, didn't slander her back. I gave them facts. 3 days later, I got confirmation. Emily had been flagged, her employment was denied, and I got the contract. But that's not the part that stuck with me. The part that stayed was what happened next. A young foreman on my team, Caleb pulled me aside. "Saw what you did," he said. "Didn't yell, didn't swing, just stood your ground." He paused. My dad, he let people walk over him. I swore I'd never be like that. I looked him in the eye and said, "It's not about swinging back. It's about knowing who you are and never letting someone rewrite it." That moment didn't make the news. No headlines, no applause, but for the first time in years, I felt like a man again. 3 years, that's how long it's been since that gas station in Montana. 3 years since Linda rolled down her window, smiled like it was funny, and told me to figure it out myself. And I did. I figured out who I was without her. The hospital job ended on a high note. We finished under budget and ahead of schedule. I got promoted to lead foreman, but I wanted more than just a paycheck. So I took a chance, registered an LLC. Thompson Contracting, 1 truck, 1 beat-up toolbox. No investors, no fanfare, just me. And the belief that doing honest work still matters. First came the small jobs, deck repairs, drywall fixes, patching driveways. I did them all myself. Then came referrals, then came Marcus. Then came Kevin, my brother, retired from welding but still handy with a drill. Word got around. We showed up on time, did the job right, no shortcuts, no excuses. Before long, I signed a lease on a small shop, then a website, then 3 more guys joined the crew, and I finally bought myself a house, not a mansion, just a modest place on the west side of Colorado Springs. 1-car garage, sturdy porch, a yard with actual grass I planted myself. No one argued about paint colors. No one left passive-aggressive notes on the fridge. No one forgot anniversaries, just quiet and peace. Every now and then, someone asks if I ever heard from Linda again. Truth is, I don't know. I don't check. Because sometimes the best revenge is building a life they're no longer part of. And when I stand in my driveway with a hot coffee looking out at a job well done, I don't feel bitter. I feel whole. Looking back, I used to think strength meant endurance, putting up with things, keeping quiet, being the one who held it all together. But I've learned something in these years alone. Real strength is knowing when to let go, letting go of people who don't respect you, letting go of roles you were never meant to carry, letting go of the hope that someone might finally see your worth when they never intended to. What Linda and her sisters did to me wasn't just cruel. It was a mirror. It showed me how far I had drifted from the man I was supposed to be. And maybe you felt it too. Maybe you've poured yourself into a job, a marriage, a family, only to wake up one day and wonder where you went in the process. If that's you, I want you to hear this. You're not weak for walking away. You're not selfish for choosing peace. You're not broken for needing to start over, no matter your age. I was 58 when I lost everything. Now I'm 61, and I've never felt more alive. I build things with my hands again. I sleep through the night. I laugh, not because someone else allows it, but because I damn well earned it. And if you're still watching this, still holding on to that silent pain in your chest, still wondering if it's too late to change, it's not. You deserve better. Not someday, now. Leave a comment if this story stirred something in you, even just a little. You don't have to share details, just let me know you're out there. Because there's more of us than you think. Men who gave and finally said, enough. And sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting free.